Hello there and welcome to my Warthog Overclockers Guide series. On the agenda today is the Stunner Overclock. Let's get into it. Stats. Stunner does plus 30% damage to stun targets and your pellets stun on hit as opposed to on weak point hit. A fairly simple and clean overclock. So let's go over the basic build for it. On the tier 1 we take Rate of Fire, the superior DPS option and a must on the Warthog. Tier 2, Loaded Shells helps with one-shotting and killing targets quickly. It also increases your chances to stun as more pellets equals more CC. Tier 3, Clip Size, because the other two options don't exist. Tier 4, Take Damage. Armor Break is for pussy.
Watch your profanity.
Tier 5, Pick Minor Adjustments. Stunner interactions, ladies and gentlemen. First up, the Warthog has a 10% chance to stun per pellet. For anyone interested, here is a chart of probabilities. Works with stuns from other sources such as your weapons and tools, including your pickaxe, and of course if your team stuns anything, it's fair game too.
Rock solid!
Stunner does not apply the damage bonus on the shot that stuns. All subsequent shots, however, will apply the 30% damage buff. Does not apply stun when hitting heavy armor, i.e. if no damage is dealt, no stun is applied. The Warthog's stun duration is 3 seconds and it only takes approximately 2.5 seconds to unload all 9 rounds of your magazine, with a standard build at least. For this reason, Stunner is good versus some tanks as you can make full use of the 30% damage buff in that time. So with the damage interactions out of the way, let's move on to strategy, so you too can wield this overclock like an MLG esports ready god. As you may have guessed, this overclock has a lot of potential. 30% damage on a full auto shotgun sounds fairly abusive. This loadout is a monster versus Praetorians, Wardens, Goo Bombers and not to mention guards. So Praetorians were somewhat recently buffed and given an extra 20% HP, and have gone from being a non-threatening pincushion to a non-threatening bullet sponge. It has been a slight nuisance ever since. With this absolute stun of an OC, yes you can unsubscribe, you can still one-clip them. If the first shot stuns, which is likely, the rest of your shots will be dealing some significant damage. And that is completely balanced, by the way, and I stand by that statement. I stand by that statement unsarcastically. Wardens are probably one of the most annoying creatures in the game. There is nothing worse than trying to hit orbs as it shakes around like booty in an earthquake. Except for when you have the Stunner OC, of course. Hit it in the body until it's stunned, and once it's stunned, it's stunned, and done, and once it's stunned, it's game over. Oh, I forgot to mention that orb takes 300% damage instead of the usual 200% damage, because that's how that weak point works. This means you'll be dealing a potential 390% damage. For those of you interested, that is 312 damage per shot. Goo Bombers get absolutely decimated by the Stun Overclock as well. Similar to the Warden, simply aim for the body and then aim for the pouches afterwards. Make sure you hit the body first so that you get the maximum potential damage, and in this case the pouches break normally after the first shot, so wait for it to be stunned before abusing it. The damage is very nice on the stunner and all, but the stun itself is also important. It is fairly decent versus slashers. A 64% chance to stun regardless of where you hit is no laughing matter. With all that being said, this has been a bit one-sided. Whilst it is a clean overclock, it still has some significant downsides. You see, it relies on stunning things to actually get that increased damage. And the main issue of that is that there is so many creatures that are either stun resistant or stun immune. Here is a list of creatures that are stun immune. Betsies, Beehives, Shellbacks, Younglings, Detonators, Dreadnoughts, Glyphid Brew Nexuses, Nexi, I'm going to go with Nexi, it's more fitting. Glyphid,
Sunshine and Rainbows,
Gun Towers, Leeches, Mactair Grabbers, and to top it all off, Nayakas. And then Breeders, Ball Thingies, Spitballers, Tyrant Weeds, even goddamn Loot Bugs and Fester Fleas aren't vulnerable to stuns. Stunner doesn't really help versus Grunts either because they usually die after the first shot, and if not, they usually die by the second shot, which is when you'd be getting the damage buff anyway. As we all know, death is the most permanent form of CC. To summarise, whilst it's good and noteworthy for a handful of enemies such as guards, Praetorians, Goo Bombers and Wardens, there are a lot of instances where you won't be getting the damage buff that was advertised. And we don't like false advertising here. The CC is nice and could potentially save you from your teammates, or you for that matter, but is it more valuable than the other options? For damage, magnetic is superior in most instances, and for ammo economy, clean ammo is far superior. For DPS, cycle overload is just bloody nutty, and well, mini shells is its own topic entirely. So should you use Stunner? Not if you have something better, which is pretty much every other overclock available on the Warthog. On the bright side, it is clean, so you don't miss out on anything by picking it up. I give this OC a rating of 4 out of 9 shells, but don't let that stop you from trying it out and having some fun. I didn't give out all that info onto how to use it, ladies and gentlemen, for nothing. I'll see you all next time. Catch you later.